Welcome back to the Cutaway scene where the conversation stays uncut, unfiltered, and aware. Listen, this week we are talking about the truth. And no, I'm not talking about just the truth by itself, truth on purpose. Okay, because let's be real, everyone says they want to know the truth. But the real question is, do you want the truth or do you want to feel good? Because sometimes those two don't come together. Let's talk about it. So earlier this week we had asked y'all, be honest, which one are you choosing? Is it knowing the truth or ignorance is bliss? Now I'm not gonna lie, this one right here, it says more than people think, okay? Because a lot of people will say they want the truth, but in real life, they move like they rather not know. And I'm not saying that's wrong, no, absolutely not. Because depending on the situation, yeah, knowing the truth can actually change everything. Like how you see someone, how you feel about something, even how you move going forward. And it's like once you know, you really can't go back to how you felt before. And it's like, you kind of ask yourself, is knowing always better or does it just make things harder? Let's get into some hot takes. So earlier this week, for Hot Take Wednesday, the question was, when does knowing the truth change things for the worse? Now this one is real. Because a lot of people basically said the same thing in different ways. See, sometimes the truth doesn't fix everything, okay? It just forces you to kind of deal with it. And it makes things clear, but not better. Now, someone said, some things felt better before I knew the truth. And honestly, that's real because before you know something, you still have comfort. And you still have the version of things that felt okay. But once the truth shows up, now you have to decide what to do with it. My take on that is that I feel like a lot of people don't avoid the truth because they don't care. They avoid it because they already know it's going to change something. And not everyone is ready for that, okay? Let's get into some scenarios. All right, scenario one, you have a feeling something is off, all right? Nothing is confirmed, but you can just feel it, right? And you have this chance to find the truth out. But you also know once you know, there's no going back. So now you're just sitting there like, do I look into it? Or do I leave it alone and keep my peace? My hot take on that. This is one of those moments where you realize peace and truth don't always come together, okay? Like, that's one of them truths that can change everything. Like how you see them, how you even respond to them, in the future going forward, right? I feel like if you have that feeling that something is off, trust that instinct, okay? Because I feel like if you can't have a healthy conversation out of it, then that's your answer right there. But honestly, I feel like if you can have a healthy conversation about it, then proceed accordingly. But I just feel like why are we walking on eggshells? It's like, why do I have to put up with certain behavior? Why do I have to put up with such behavior? I don't like that. All right, scenario two. Everything in your life feels fine, okay? Nothing is technically wrong, but there's a part of you that feels like something isn't fully right either. Okay, you can dig deeper, ask questions, get clarity. But you also know that clarity might change how everything feels. So now it's like, do I leave things how they are or risk changing everything just to know? Now, my hot take on that is that I feel like a lot of people stay in situations not because they are happy, but because they haven't confirmed the truth yet, okay? I remember someone once asked me if I knew exactly, they basically said if I knew I was going to get to where I wanted to be, like my heart's desire, like my career that I wanted, the love life, it doesn't matter. If I knew that I can get that, would I work as hard to try to get there? That one hits because it made me want to enjoy the journey more. It made me think of things more clear, and it made it that much easier to stay in the moment. See, one thing I realized is this: not knowing can feel like peace, but it's really just delayed clarity. Because eventually the truth shows up anyway, okay? And when it does, it usually hits harder than it would have before, right? But at the same time, knowing comes with responsibility, okay? Because once you know something, you can't ignore it, okay? You have to really decide, like, do I act on this or do I pretend like I never found out? And that's where things get real, okay? Because the truth doesn't just inform you. It kind of forces a decision, okay? But anyways, that was this week's conversation. Truth on purpose. Because sometimes not knowing feels better, but knowing shows you what's real. Now, make sure you follow the Cutaway scene on Instagram also, so you can stay part of the conversation and vote in the weekly polls, okay? Hit that subscribe, like on YouTube, okay, where the new episode premieres every Friday at 7 p.m. Anyways, that's a wrap, and this is the Cutaway scene.